Welcome to Drink Tangi Interviews. Last September, at the 2023 Venice Biennale, we had the opportunity to have a chat with Alma du Solier, the studio director of Food Design Studio, about their exhibition Natives. We hope you enjoy it. We are here from the Venice Biennale. We have the honor and the pleasure of speaking with Alma. She is a member of Food Studio. She is one of the directors of Food Studio. Alma, thank you very much for accepting Perrilla's generosity.
No, Chris. Thank you.
Alma, if you can put us a little bit on context of what is being shown here in the pavilion.
So we name our exhibit Natives, and it's based on this idea that Leslie Noko, the curator, set for everybody to talk about this decolonization and the urbanization, and this idea that what belongs to a site, both from a natural standpoint like plants and people, also is a bit of a human construction to a certain degree, meaning that at any given point in history, you can stop time and say, this is what belongs here, that these are the natives. So we were trying to illustrate that in the context of a community that is called Phillies. So the exhibit is composed of three components. We have this backdrop that is like a timeline that explains this notion of how being a native, it's again a point in time. So we started all the way from the migration of the native grasses of the region, colonization, and then all the way to how the community lives today. And then the second part, we did this fantastical architecture. These are the small pavilions that we envision and become kind of what we're calling the sweetgrass walk group, which is this big arc that in essence frames the edge of the community to prevent it from being kind of disturbed or violated. Like the suburban developments, they build normally all the way up to the water. They build a hard structure and they prevented the natural systems to exist. Our notion is that if you contrast that and keep it on the side of the tulips community, making this elevated structure like this maquette that we have here, the water can still have its own natural processes, but humans can walk along and sort of build this idea of the basket weaving and selling them, and potentially has an economic benefit to them as well, hopefully. So this is all speculation. It hasn't been built, but this is one of the ideas we will love to continue to stay connected with the community of Phillips, who have been very generous to share their story with us and see what that takes us from.
So it is speculative at the moment, but it does have the possibility of being built, or is the nature is the speculation and reflection?
At this point, it's a speculation, and this idea that architecture may have a role in preserving stories and preserving value of communities that are a little bit more intangible. Mm-hmm. So this idea that basket weaving was a methodology, was a thing that this community developed for economic sustenance, but also then made them a cultural district in essence, and then they have that tradition still in place today. So there's a notion of, as many other communities have experienced, younger generations wanting to move to something else, and those traditions end up being lost. So this architecture brings to the fore this notion that it is inspired by the idea of basket weaving. It's inspired by the native plant of the palmetto, which is a typical palm of the region. And so this can become places for selling some of the product, but also for education, for, I guess, this preservation of some traditions, with the idea that this community that is a native of this area, given all the circumstances that brought them there, and stay and should have a place in history forever. And so one of the things about this speculative architecture piece is that we are envisioning it as something that is constantly evolving. The community lives in a system in which they have these pieces of land that they call the overgrown, and it's just basically pieces of land that are left alone and they grow. And then that can be the source or the materials to create these pavilions and changing them over time. So it's a different proposal in architecture in which you're not fixing things in time, but just like we define what is native and not native, we let the architecture transform over the years. And so that's the dream of one, or the provocation that we have with this.
Yeah, because it's so interesting that being speculative, but at the same time, it's very material oriented, and material conscious.
And this notion of leaving the water to sort of move in and out. I mean, there's a lot of layers to how they were envisioning this architecture that is light in the landscape.
I don't know if we could comment a little bit on each of the pavilions. Or?
Sure. So this what we call the sweetgrass walk, and that is basically the idea that along the entire length of this big park, we can have these elements, and there were two versions. We were just filming one is inspired by the idea. It was a metal from Bashwich and Goldie is the argument to them. It looks like a series of fronds, like a hand. So we were kind of trying to figure out how to build that, like forming this, creating some shades, allowing people to move a little bit more comfortably. But the notion is a structure. You have the frame, and the pieces that come in there, these are the ones that are changing constantly as they decay. Similarly to how they do here in Venice, like you have to change those panini that form the canals. So there's a level of, fixed structure and a level of additive. So you keep adding and changing and removing and then bringing some of the, as a forest, overgrown growth too much, and I need to cut some here. Then they use wood here and everything. And this version over here is just another alternative, and which sort of more inspired by Prato. If you look at the picture on the back by photographer Watts, he took a lot of pictures in what they call the low country, which is basically like the wetland designs. And the idea of the grassland is that shape inspired us to it, which is similar to this other pavilions. And this is where we're looking in these areas for selling the baskets, or almost like visitor locations or whatever. Stays, some of the tradition transferred classes. I mean, there would be many of them. During out in there's mix of them, but they're too inspired by the grasses.
Okay. I find it particular in this one that this seems to be like benches,
Well, we call all of these trees because we did another exhibit before in which is basically the idea similar to that is that we have a very simple unit and then how to basically attach this through joinery that doesn't require any glue. So you form these pieces and they're like a tripod concept, so they self-stand, and that is how the columns then become stackable, and you can change them over the years. So you don't have to build the full thing and then you can't remove it. The idea again is a sort of accretional system. So that one is based on literally the tripod. It's based on this, more like a drum. So we were trying to use the basket weaving is working in two ways. They do it with coiling, so that's more like this, but also move this one that goes around. So you kind of use the strength of the coiling to make it more structurally sound.
Okay, Alma, thank you very much for that beautiful guidance through this pavilion, and so special. This is going to be in podcast, especially in Latin America, but to know the world with the Latin American point of view. So thank you very, very much.
And I just want to add, this is thanking my entire studio, design studio in Oakland, California, but I am also Latina, so muchas gracias.
Thank you very much.